joining us today are two remarkable guests. First, we're going to be speaking with Mudassar Yasin, affectionately known as the Birmingham's Camel Sheikh, which is really interesting title to have. He's a cultural entrepreneur and the founder of Hump Group, a pioneering UK-based business that has been promoting camel milk and Bedouin wisdom since 2015. His work goes beyond commerce, and it's about education and working with the community, empowerment and global impact. Alongside him is going to be Christina Adams, an award-winning author, international speaker and leading voice on the therapeutic potentials of camel milk. So it'll be very interesting to find out a bit more about how it's helped children with autism. Her acclaimed book, Camel Crazy, has opened eyes worldwide and helped bridge science with centuries-old tradition. So together, they're here to share how camel milk is changing lives and how their work is challenging assumptions. So we're going to hear lots about this and learn more about this story. So let's give them a warm welcome. And Assalamu alaikum, Mudassar and Christina.
Walaikum salam.
It is great to have you guys here today. I am so excited. I have, heard and learned a bit about camel milk. So it'd be great to hear from you guys. So Mudassar, if you tell us a little bit about, first of all, why are you called the Camel Sheikh?
Well, thank you first and foremost for having both of us on the show, and lovely to be here in the Islam Channel studios. The Camel Sheikh story has quite a long backstory, but I'll try and keep it short and snappy for the viewers. So I was in Dubai first 2004. I went to a camel farm, a friend's camel farm in Al Ain, where I came across camel milk back in those days. And the fact that we're a small Birmingham-based business that came out with the idea of promoting camel milk first in Birmingham and one of the first throughout Europe about 10 years ago.
I didn't know that. It was the first time in Europe, in what you're saying, in Birmingham, it was introduced.
We were the first ones in Birmingham, yes, and we were also one of the first ones in all of Europe to promote camel milk.
So you are deserving of that name then?
Well, yes, Birmingham Camel Sheikh does have its accolades as well, but it's a title that I do live up to because I'm passionate in promoting my city of Birmingham and also the benefits of the camel milk and also promoting camels globally. And we have, by the will of God, we have managed to sell the camel milk products and our Palestinian dates, by the way, from Canada to all the way to Australia.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, so this is, you've obviously been in it now for how many years now? And you said you started this, what?
2015.
2015, right. Okay, so you've been in this all this time, and obviously there's been research and stuff that's gone behind it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yes, I mean, I'm sitting next to a very esteemed guest here, Christina Adams, who's come from the US, and we've known each other for a long time. And all her research, I mean, we sell the book as well, the signed copies of the Camel Crazy that we have on the table here for our viewers to see.
Yes, we're gonna come to what's displayed on the table. But yes, we've got the Camel Crazy book here. That's Christina Adams, the author, is with us. So actually, we'll come to you then, Christina. So tell us a little bit about your research and all of this.
Well, this was something I never intended because I grew up in Virginia where they have horses, no camels. However, my son had developed autism after I had my career in government and media. And so at this time, of course, like many parents, you have to give up everything and try to help your child. So I did a lot of things and he got a lot better, which was the topic of my first book, A Real Boy. But then I happened to meet a man with a camel at a children's book fair in California. And he was selling soap and lotion from camel milk. And I said, what else do you do with the milk? And he said it was given to premature infants in hospitals in the Middle East and maybe non-allergenic and close to human milk. That's when I had my idea. This might help my son because autism is connected to the immune system in many cases, if not most. So I couldn't find it in America. I flew it in from Bedouins in the Middle East, frozen bottles of milk in suitcases, long way. Wow. I gave it to him. He got better overnight.
And so you saw a big difference.
A huge difference overnight. And then because he had a lot of medical data and educational data behind him, I was able to track all of his improvements. It was a 30% symptom improvement across the board. So this is what put me into the wonderful wide world of camels. And I've been writing and researching ever since. And I have some science articles out there, some articles that kind of went viral and started the modern use of camel milk for autism and health. As we know, the camel has been a very special animal. It's even in the, the holy literature, verse 8817, I believe, will they not look at the camel, how it is created? And so these peoples that have had camels, they know for centuries this is a healing milk. But the modern use of this had kind of not happened yet because camels are far away from cities. These kind of knowledge bases are being lost. And so no one knew about the autism part. So once that happened, it's just kind of helped drive this around the world. And I'm happy to say thousands of children are now using it for autism, also diabetes, type 1 and 2, gut disorders, skin conditions.
I mean, it's wonderful that there is a milk or, you know, something that is benefiting people. But in terms of how would you explain that to, you know, I mean, so I understand that, you know, with your own experience, it's the best experience because you're actually living and experimenting yourself. But how would you explain that if we were to, you know, then go like to, you know, everyday practitioners, GPs or doctors, and how would you explain to them that this is a milk that's made a difference? Would they see it as...
Well, I can show you my story as well, of what brought me into the world of camels and camel milk 21 years ago when I was in the UAE. So I was going through some really severe health issues with gut health, and at one point they wanted to do surgery on me, and I wasn't having that. So my friend from the UAE that I met in Al Ain, he invited me to their farm in the UAE. And when I first drank the camel milk at their family farm, I noticed a miraculous feeling when I drank a few sips. And over time, I got better thanks to the camel milk. So from my own personal experience, I can testify, if it wasn't for the camel milk, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But as far as the medical situation, used to, when I started this, it was a lonely place to be. Some people would roll their eyes, camel milk, you know, things like this. I got actually USDA federal permission to import it in the country by getting a doctor's letter and these kind of things. So as I climbed my way kind of up and built this kind of awareness up, slowly things started changing. So now I'm very proud to say, not only have I authored science articles, some with respected doctors and professionals, now I'm getting a lot more, you know, feedback from medical professionals around the world. I also am the moderator of a Facebook group called Healing with Camel Milk, and more the referrals to camel milk are coming from doctors and medical practitioners. So the short answer is also it's got enzymes, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-tumor qualities, and it also has GABA, which may exert a calming effect on the brain because it does help many of the children with autism not be aggressive and to not be so hyper. It also has a form of insulin that may survive in the stomach, unlike other animal milks that have insulin but seems to be destroyed in the stomach. Also antioxidant, antifungal, there's a lot of amazing properties. And this is because the camel, like other camelids, have a certain type of antibody that are only found in sharks otherwise. And so there's many things about the camel milk, but the camel is being used in science as well to develop like immunotherapies and things like this. So there are studies, it's just a lot of doctors don't know about them.
So I guess in some sort of way that we are also actually sharing this with the, you know, as I said, your experience is one thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing, but these studies need to be shared. And, you know, it'd be interesting to know exactly the link between scientifically, you know, with the, you know, with the brain of, you know, how has this helped children with autism? You know, it's, I mean, I can't help but think that, do you think that it could be a possibility that is it because it's raw?
Well, I do discuss all that in the book, especially chapter 15. I discuss the mechanisms by which this may help the autistic child and other things. But it's not just because it's raw. Now, I think we can all say the best camel milk is that from the desert that's raised by the nomadic peoples. You can't beat that kind of milk because they graze on the plants, they are living close to the earth.
Very natural, you know, but it's not being processed or pasteurized.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's the best, but not everybody can get that. So it turns out that camel milk from different countries, different places, even different types of feed, breeds, the camel milk is still effective for many, many health conditions. So it's the camel itself. And I am very pleased that my son was the first patient in the world to get camel milk from the Middle East and then also from America. 2 entirely different types of camels being raised. So he showed that it was the camel itself that delivered the milk, so that was healthy. So, you know, as far as what camel milk to get, I always say the best camel milk to get is the first and the easiest one you can get. I'm not a big fan of ultra high temperature, but pasteurized, spray dried, liquid, raw if you can get it from a safe source. Animal milk is an amazing thing, and that includes all milks. They're the first milk. They are, nature's first food for living beings. And so milk is generally a wonderful thing, no matter where it comes from. It just happens that some of the autistic children, a lot of them cannot handle cow dairy. And there's kind of various reasons for that. One of them is it has a type of casein that actually kind of creates an opioid effect if it enters through the leaky gut, impacts the brain, and it's, according to the literature, it can cause detachment, staring, unawareness of surroundings. So the number one thing I tell families to do is get rid of all casein from all animal milk sources, and then a lot of the kids get better just from that, and adults too, and then add the Camel. So basically all animal milk is good, but it depends on the type of person that's consuming it. And the closest to nature, the better. But we live in cities sometimes, so we have to work to get, the best milk we can get. But I love organic milk. However, most of the Camel people, even if it's not certified organic, they tend to use organic methods. I think that's one thing that's great about the camel industry. Also, the camels will not give milk if they're not happy. You cannot get it from this strong female camel. Yes, so generally it's a super, humane type of dairy operation, and the babies are often kept with the camels for a very long time.
Yeah, and so look, Christina, I can imagine the reaction you must have got, when you mentioned camel milk back in Virginia, when you first started out. But Mudassar, what was the reaction you got from the people around
gosh,
you?
Let's not go there. It's like having nightmares.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it's been a struggle. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's been a struggle, uphill battle to get the knowledge out there. We're not business-minded. All our work has been about advocacy, education and awareness, with the intention of helping families around the world through the healing benefits of camel milk to leave behind a legacy and make an impact, which we have done globally, thanks to God, first and foremost.
I mean, it's even... in some sense, it's an act of charity as well.
It is. It is. I mean, there's been cases where we've actually given camel milk to people for free, without charging any money for them because they needed it the most. There's been parents that have come to us in very desperate situations, and we're not a charity. We're only a very small business, a start-up essentially. Even it's been 10 years. We help the community in what we try and do. We're very passionate about what we do. We've become a very trusted name globally, and also we were recognised as the only UK company that's a significant global player in the camel milk market globally. That's an achievement that testifies our work.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, the struggle, if I can remind myself first and foremost, also our viewers, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they went to give the message of Risala and Tawheed, the oneness of God, for our non-Muslim viewers, how many battles did the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, face? He faced backlash from his own community. He faced so many challenges. Yeah. And we're not comparing ourselves to the Prophet, of course, but we had similar struggles. But what kept us going was we kept our patience, we kept our integrity, our passion. For me, it's not a business. We don't make millions from selling or promoting camel milk. It's a passion with the intention to help communities around the world, families included, that have kids with needs and requirements, to be able to bring back, if you like, the Bedouin tradition that's been forgotten in this 21st century.
In terms of faith, we are constantly, it's been, told to us that the purpose of life is also to serve humanity, to build a relationship with our Creator, and to have the relationship with our Creator is to connect with the other people around us.
That's right.
And so this is a way of helping all the people around us. If it's something that's working for you and it's good, why would anyone want to gatekeep that? Why not want to share that? But there's also, I have heard that you have a lot of Bedouin wisdom. Were you a Bedouin? Did you pack up and go and live with the Bedouins or something?
I mean, I've had the fortunate opportunity to travel to the Middle East on a number of occasions. When I was 2004, as I mentioned, to the UAE, when nobody knew about Dubai or what even Dubai was back in those days.
when it was a flat land.
It's flat land, nothing there, just desert.
There was nothing but desert.
Arabic. Yes, Isba. And I've had the opportunity to meet some very, very highly respectable Bedouins from the UAE, from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all over the Middle East where I've been. And they've taught me some wisdom that I try to adopt in my daily life, and also through the operations of Hump Group, if you like. And one of them is that you should never underestimate the concept of khair, goodness. So the Bedouins say that, in Arabic, if you don't mind, I can say that in Arabic too. They say that كل شيء خير عند خير, which means that every goodness has good behind it.
Yeah.
So we try to operate our, if you like, community business on that model, whereas we are giving something that's beneficial to the community, the hadith, the camel milk that we have here, and we're trying to help people.
Yeah.
And that's our business model, if you like. And it's, as I say, it's not been easy, but we are.
But again, is this, obviously there's a lot of goodness in the Bedouin lifestyle, and there's a lot of wisdom, and that's
Yes.
their tradition.
They have a very simple lifestyle.
Yeah,
we know how economically advanced these countries have now become, the UAE, Qatar, Saudi, and so on and so forth. But what I always admire about them, whenever I go back out there, I was there recently, in fact. What I always admire about them and the people is that when you go to the, remember as well, we forgot to make this point, the Bedouins, they don't sell camel milk. It's offensive, it's rude, right? When you go to the Uzbah or to the desert or the tents, the majlis, they give it to you for free.
Yeah.
As a gift to invite you. Hospitality is very important, and also welcoming is also very, very important. But what I was going to say was that despite all these economic advancements that we have in this day and age in that part of the world, they never forget their roots and heritage.
I mean, that's wonderful. And ultimately, I think outside all that glitz and glamour and everything, and for ultimate inner peace and greatness and goodness, you have to connect back to, I know it sounds very spiritual, but it's back to the earth. And I think that living as close to nature, it has its benefits.
It has.
No?
If I just may say something very briefly, when I was in the UAE about a couple of months ago, I was in Ajman, another state in the UAE, another city, and I was invited by His Highness Sheikh Abdul Aziz Al Naimi, who was one of the members of the ruling family, and he's very known worldly about his contributions to the environment and how he promotes health through the environment. So he's known as the Green Sheikh. I'm the Birmingham's Camel Sheikh. He's the Green Sheikh.
He's the Green Sheikh. Okay.
And what we did was he runs many things, but what we did was at that time is that we went to the desert after like Asr, so it's not too hot, right?
It's perfect time.
And we were buried in the sand. We were buried in the sand for a whole hour.
Yeah.
That was the best feeling ever. I've done that before many a times,
What
right?
was that? You were just having some fun, or were you experimenting?
No, it's reconnecting yourself with the earth.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
I would recommend to everybody who has not tried that, please do try that. That will transform your life. Honestly, the feelings that you get when you're buried in the sand, and how the sand like ties you up, and you feel something that I cannot describe. It gives a lot of power, a lot of energy,
Gosh,
and you feel like a different person.
Experience. But I have to bring it back to Christina for just a moment. A little bit about your book. Obviously, you're sharing your experience and stuff. But have we got in there a little bit more in depth about what benefits? A list of benefits.
I do have a list of benefits. In the back of the book is a user's guide that will tell you what some of the conditions are and how much to take, how long do you take it, how do you prepare it, because I know what people want to know. So your diabetes type 1 and 2, gut disorders, skin conditions, between rounds of chemo, autism, food allergies, these things. So go to the back of the book for your user's guide. But I would also love to say, in light of the remarks about the community, I was living in California. I had become a single mother, unfortunately, as happens in the autism community. And I reached out to people that I didn't know. I met my first Bedouin, actually. He was a Tuareg, and I met him in California at a fancy house at a jewelry party. And so this lovely Tuareg man said, please, come out to the desert. I will give you camel milk out there, even though I already was looking for it and had it and everything. So my point is that the Muslim community has been a wonderful, welcoming community to me, and together there are many scientists that are also from these countries and many Bedouins that I have visited with, and I just want people to know who are not Muslim like myself, just reach out to people that you may not know that have a different faith, and you will find so much goodness and so much support. And so my book is also a tribute to the camel cultures and the camel people of the world. So it's my journey, sort of an adventure story, starts in, this little town in California, and it takes me all around the world. So I wanted to give a voice to these people and share their wisdom and give them a platform so that people recognize their inherent goodness and their ways of life.
I'm just wondering, though, we got a little bit about what people's reaction was at first, but when they did hear about the studies and I guess experiments that were conducted by doctors and scientists for this, that happened, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So when the people were, around you were told about this, what was their reaction then? Because not everybody goes by, oh, it works for me. I've seen benefit, of it, with myself, and sometimes people want to know, like, what does the doctor say about this? What's science say about it? So when they found this out, what was your reaction then?
Well, in the beginning, there wasn't any. It was just my idea.
Yeah.
And so then after a few months went by, there came a new study that showed it to help some autistic kids. But after that, there wasn't anything for a long, long time. So it was just me at first pursuing this. And then over the years, there became more studies. In 2012, there was a study from Dr. Leila Al-Ayadhi, a very esteemed researcher in Saudi Arabia. And so she did the clinical trial on children with autism. And so it showed all the ways it benefited them in their actual lab results and their behavior. And so since then, there have been more studies, some private, some public. And we do need some more studies. That would be great. But people now used to, like, they would roll their eyes a little bit. Camel milk, like I said. Now it seems like the time has come where people can understand the value of natural things. And so, the book does have the scientific explanations. I actually did a study on camel milk in the Nobel Prize winning lab that did the ozone hole study. So that was great. But we need more. We definitely need more. So
yes. Just to remind you that if you are going to be trying something new, or just to take precautions and do what you need to do your own research if you need to, and seek medical help, or speak to somebody. And just everything that was discussed today, it was obviously a general information and their own experience, and not so much medical advice, but obviously it has had miraculous benefits into Mudassar and Christina's personal life.
The thing is also, it's just a food. If it didn't have the word camel in front of it, it's just milk. No doctor would say, don't give your child cow milk or this milk, unless they're a very specialty doctor that knows about this. Yeah. It's just milk. And the bottom line is, it's extraordinarily nutritious. So you don't lose anything from trying it, and you may gain something.
Yeah, you remind me, Christina, of this lovely famous quote by Rumi, what you search for is actually searching you. So it just seems like in your journey, when you were searching for something that was going to help your son, it was this was destined for you to for this to come to you. But anyhow, Mudassar, if you tell us a little bit about this campaign, about the dates, when did this come about and why?
Well, I mean, as I say, we always been about education and awareness, and trying to, leave memories behind in terms of our community, and try to educate people through awareness. So every year we run a dates campaign, Palestinian dates campaign. Every single year we buy from a family in Palestine who have their own setup and farm and factory, and we try to educate people about the differences of dates. So dates come in different forms and sizes and shapes. You can talk about that all day. But our focus has been Palestinian from day one with the camel milk, because the Bedouins love dates and coffee with the camel milk. So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think it also explains why there's so much wisdom in, again, being, as a Bedouin, living that very simplistic life. It has so many health benefits.
Yes, that's right. That's right, and I think it's been fascinating, because obviously people, they don't realise that there's so much to dates, just what's in the box. There's so much more to it that goes, with the dates, and it's so complicated, but it's so beautiful at the same time. And I think we've done a great job in terms of educating the communities, raising that awareness, and trying to encourage people to buy verified which we are verified Palestinian dates, which we run under the family name who we distribute under. We only run them in season during Ramadan when they are in season.
But I think there's also a saying that a house without dates is not a house.
That's right, yes, there's also that saying
we
too.
always have to have dates and things like that.
Dates and camel milk go together too.
Yeah.
And there are stories from the Somali community, who I also feature in my book, that people, camel boys, they used to call themselves, I'm a camel boy. They would go out and herd the camels for days and days and days at a time and live off nothing but camel milk. And you know, if they had dates, they were lucky. So they kind of go together. And these camel boys, they're elderly men now, and I've interviewed many of them, and I met some recently here in Sheffield. They say it makes them strong for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and the milk.
Here we go.
Where we go.
Bismillah.
Bismillah.
2, 3, yes.
I mean, I have, I'm so glad it's cold, because the last time I had camel milk, it was warm, but it was very creamy and delicious, and it is actually very, very delicious. I mean,
This is
you had to
pure.
freeze
This is pure camel milk. It's pure camel milk that comes frozen to us.
And it's not. There's
completely raw.
nothing else in
Nothing
it.
else
This is
in it.
wonderful.
And here's the funny thing. Whenever people say to me, the number one question is, what does it taste like? And then they pick up a cup or a little sample and they get kind of nervous.
But
and
this
they
is
shake.
how milk used to taste.
Yeah. And they
when
say
we were
it
young
just
and
tastes
growing
like
up.
milk. They say it just
But,
tastes
but
like
it's obviously different. I mean, I don't drink pasteurized milk now. I do have Jersey milk, the Happy Cow, Jersey raw milk, and sometimes it's creamy and sometimes it's off and sometimes it's funny. But you know that it's depending on the mood. But this is very creamy, and it tastes like when growing up, when I was a child, like real milk.
Well, we had an event in Birmingham a couple of days ago, and we also made camel milk tea at the event. We celebrated Christina's arrival into the UK, our 10th year anniversary, and we had camel milk Karak tea, would you believe it, that we make for the last 4 or 5 years. Everyone loved it. It's so creamy.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, you wouldn't really need cream in your coffee.
No.
Because it's so creamy.
Yeah. And so I advise for the therapeutic aspect of it, don't heat it. So even if it's already been pasteurized, that's fine, but don't heat it if you want that part. But if you just want to cook with it, bake with it, enjoy it in your coffee, absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Because, you know, using camels and camel products is going to help keep those cultures alive and the camel alive, because they're under threat in some places while they're growing in other places. So the more use we get out of camels, the better for the societies and us.
And just curious, about the camel, obviously there's different types of camels. Does it really matter?
No.
Asian or Middle East camel?
No.
2 hump, 1 hump?
No, because I've seen the studies. I actually helped a camel dairy startup recently, and so I saw the studies from that milk, which was a double hump camel, the Bactrian, and it was very, very similar to dromedary milk, the single hump, except it had a little higher one of the essential fatty acids, which is a good thing. So a camel milk anywhere is a good camel milk, in my opinion.
I would just like to say thank you so much to both of you, Christina and Mudassar, for being here today. It was a very short time, and we've had to cover so much. There's so much more, but I think, we've got this book here, Camel Crazy. If you can look into it, as I mentioned, we do have a podcast as well on Islam Channel, but also there is the Camel Group, the Hump Group,
That's right, yes, they can buy it online from the website too.
And I'm on socials as well.
Yes.
Christina Adams Author is the website, Christina Think on X or Twitter, Christina Adams Author on Facebook and Instagram. Happy to help any considerations you have if people want to reach out with their questions.
Yes, thank you so much. And there you have all the details there. Should you need to get more advice and want to know more about it, these are the perfect people to be contacting for that.